Shalom, Wa'agwan, Wayashirala, Shalom to the 12 tribes scattered amongst the heathen. Hey, first and foremost, we return to the east, and we give all praises to our power.
Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash.
Double honor to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and a mighty Shalom to the brothers doing the work of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Shai in these last days. Right, Yahweh, that's the true name of the Heavenly Father, who the world through ignorance calls God or Jehovah. Okay, Yahweh means he exists, he to be. In the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, Ba'Hashem, in the name of Yahweh Shai, who the world through ignorance calls Jesus Christ or Yeshua. Okay, Yahweh Shai means he saves, he is salvation, or he gives the victory unto who? Unto the elect of the nation of Israel. So in these last days, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai are the names you have to call upon to be delivered from destruction pursuant to the book of Luke, the first chapter, and around the 71st verse. So, hey, today's January, was it 16th? 2022, the year of the turn-up, man. So, hey, all hell breaking news all throughout the world. We see earthquakes in diverse places. Yesterday we had a so-called a mini tsunami starting from Japan all the way here to the west coast. So that's the Yahweh Shai amplifying the spirit on both sides, man. So, hey, let's start with 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 7.
1 Peter 4 and 7, but the end of things is at hand.
It says the end of all things is at hand. Can you read that one more time, bro?
But the end of all things is at hand.
Right.
But ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer.
Right, it says, but the end of all things is at hand. It don't say the end of just 10% of Esau's kingdom, 20% of Esau's kingdom. It says the end of all things. That's 100%, man. Okay, from his infrastructure, Esau's infrastructure, his concrete jungle, his military, which are his teeth. Okay, everything's gonna get collapsed, man. Okay, his economy. Okay, so the end of all things is at hand. And what is the end? Pursuant to 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. We'll go there real quick. 2nd Ezra 6 and 8. We'll start at verse 7. So the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore, it says what, bro?
But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober.
Be ye therefore sober. Sober in your mind, in your spirit. You got to be aware, you got to be circumspect pursuant to the book of Ephesians, the 5th chapter. Okay, you got to look at your surroundings, seeing or watching what's being pushed forth by Esau, Edom on the left-hand side. Okay, going into prophecies pursuant to the book of Sirach, the 43rd chapter, I believe, where it goes into a man, a diligent man studies to show himself approved and sees prophecies unfolding. That's in the book.
Yep. This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, the 1st verse and the 2nd verse. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of Yahweh Shai.
So right there it says, for you know yourselves that the day of Yahweh Shai, go ahead, bro.
1 Thessalonians 5 and 2, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord Yahweh Shai so cometh as a thief in the night.
Yeah, Yahweh Shai is going to come back as a thief in the night when you least expect it, man. So you don't want to get caught slipping while not doing the work, man. You want to be found doing the work of Yahweh Shai and being watchful unto prayer. Go ahead, bro.
1 Thessalonians 5 and 2. I'm going to read down to 3 and then I'm going to catch 6 as well. And 7. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord Yahweh Shai so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety.
Right, when they shall say peace and safety, when they shall say, look, take this jab, take this hocus pocus, like right to was that 21 and 2?
Yep.
Okay, everything's gonna be okay. Right, everything's gonna be fine, and you're gonna go back to your normal life. But then what, bro? When they shall say peace and safety?
For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Yeah, then sudden destruction will come upon them. Just like in the days of Noah, pursuant to Matthew, the 24th chapter, they were eating and drinking and giving unto marriage, having a good ass time, riding on the scooter,
yep,
with the Verb, their Uber, going to and fro, man. But these people of the world, they don't understand what's about to hit Babylon the Great, man. That's what it means, what the scripture says, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction, suddenly, man. Okay, it shall call upon them like a woman in travail when she's in pain.
And if I may, there's a lot of flood behavior you see all around the world, and at this beach we see it constantly. Mo's walking up and down the strip, Jake walking up and down the strip, A lot of times rolling up blunts, having an evil eye towards their brothers. Zebulon and Issachar wanting to beat each other up and stab each other and shake each other, you know, and take his women, so on and so forth.
That's a good point. And that's what happened during the days of Noah. Even during the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, man. People are bugging now. And how you know people are bugging now? You see these women having a dyed hair, purple hair, pink hair, red hair, man. That's going off, man.
Yeah, this is Matthew 24 and 37. But as the days of Noe, we know that's Noah, right? Where so shall also coming the Son of Man be.
Yeah, so just like in the time of the pre-flood, now we're gonna have the pre-fire, man. Which these are two kings and agents. The flood is known as the first step. Now what's gonna come upon Babylon the Great is known as what? The second step. Go ahead, bro.
So it says in Matthew 24 and 38. For as the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noe entered into the ark.
Hey, can you turn the camera, bro, this way? So they can see an example of Matthew 24 in the days of Noah. What is everybody doing? Having a good ass time. Having a sweet time. Look, with their skateboards and scooters, the bikes. You know, being in that mirth spirit. Okay? Being in that happy spirit, man. But at this very moment, you're supposed to be in the spirit of what? Mourning. Okay? There's a time of mourning and a time of mirth. Right now, we're in the prophets on the spirit of what? Mirth, man. Now, Salah, good morning. Right? Morning to your Al-Bash, now trying to deliver us from modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, man. Whatever.
We went off. You know what I mean? We were worshiping these other gods. We were, before we got into the truth, we were like these people out here, lost and complete darkness. Okay? And that's when it says, over there in 1 Peter 4 and 7, we're speaking about be sober. So sober and what? The doctrine.
Yeah, and these people ain't sober, man. A lot of them are physically drunk, going to and fro, which there's nothing wrong when you have a little drink here and there, but you're actually in the truth and you're aware of what's going on in your surroundings, man.
A lot of these people are spiritually drunk too. You see them walking around, just done. 2-3 masks. I mean, as we're speaking right now, we got Northern Kingdom walking by us with masks on, man. Completely gone off the philosophy of Esau Edom, off the so-called white man's juice, man. Most likely juiced up, 2-3 shots, jump shots in the gym beat, ready to take that third Boost mobile phone,
So this is Matthew 24 and 39, and they knew not until the flood, and so Noah was prophesying for 120 years. That was our forefather, right, a faithful servant of Yahweh Shem Yahshai. Okay, and so we're trying to be in that same spirit before that door closes, because that door is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. He closed the door back then on those people that didn't believe, and that same thing's going to happen again. They're going to get caught with the door being shut with thermal nuclear missile, or get caught up with the paragma, or get caught up with the famine.
And if I made that door that's going to be shut on them this time is the doors of repentance,
Yeah, because we're under a grace period right now, but we still rehearse the righteous acts. We still have to come and call on the true names and be sober in those names, right? And not be drunken in what the Babylonians do. So Matthew 24 and 39, and I knew not until the flood came and took all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then there shall be two in the field, and one shall be taken and the other left.
Yeah, that's an example of separation or division that Yahushua is going to execute in these last days. He's going to divide family members, man. Okay, like it says, I think that's the prophecy in Luke 21, how you're going to have your wife against the husband, vice versa, different family members against each other. Some bowing down to the beast system and others not bowing down to that beast system. These are examples of division that Yahushua is going to execute in these last days.
I'm going to get that real quick for you, sir, and then I'm going to get First Thessalonians.
Want to bring that up, bro?
Want to go to first?
Okay, where it says, be watchful unto prayer, be sober. And go to Luke 18 real quick.
Matthew 10 and 34, think not that I come to send peace on earth.
Yeah, Yahushua ain't going to come back and give you hugs and kisses, pursuant to Isaiah, the 30th chapter. Speak unto us smooth things. We're not here to speak unto you smooth things, man. Okay, prophesy disease. We're here to prophesy destruction, man. Pursuant to the book of, I think that's Jeremiah, where it goes into lamentations and woes, misery upon Babylon the Great. That's the job of a prophet. Go ahead, bro.
Matthew 10 and 34, think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
And who's that sword? That sword is the left side of Yahweh Shai, which is Esau. pursuant to the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, Genesis 25th chapter, and Ezekiel, the 12th chapter. That sword is being sharpened, okay, daily, but it's coming into its perfection. What with AI, artificial intelligence, man? Go ahead, bro.
Matthew 10 and 34 again, from the top, think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Right, and this sword is ready and sharpened to what? Slaughter. Okay, slaughter who? The wicked, the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, and the rest of the heathens, man. Go ahead, bro.
Matthew 10 and 35, for I come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law.
And you see that happening daily, man, to the point where the love of many are waxing cold and old. Okay, for many iniquities shall happen upon them that go on earth because they have walked in great pride, man.
See people killing their own family members, during Christmas. People killing old people at church. I think it was an old lady that got shanked to death in the bathroom at church. A few months ago. And that shows you that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. Those are harlot houses, man. Where people go and learn how to be better idolaters, man.
How to be worse.
Matthew 10 and 36, a man's foe shall be they of his own household.
Yeah, so you don't have to really worry about, Esau or the heathens. You're actually, your real enemies is your own people, your own bloodline, man.
Yeah, because for instance, with this thing that they started a couple years ago, what do you have? You have the jabbed against the non-jabbed.
You have people not wanting to let their family members over to family gatherings because of the juice and their Jew status. Saying, if you go down there and take the Yo Jabba Jabba,
They want to see your family members want to see that card.
they want to see your green card status.
Yeah.
And that's just with the Yo Jabba Jabba. Imagine when the Karagba gets introduced, how much more people are going to be at each other's throats, man. And it's not conspiracy theory anymore, man. The Karagba is in world headline news. It's on CNN, it's on Fox, man. And you other congregations, man, you're gonna have to answer for what's coming down the line, man. You're gonna have to give answers for what the Karagma technology is, man. You're gonna have to give answers to your congregations and to your followers, man. Because they're gonna ask questions. The more this man puts the pressure on society, man.
And that's how those wars or rumors of wars in your own household. Okay, so because it says it's going to be, when you go into that word, it goes into tribes. Okay, there's going to be different tribes, fighting against each other. Okay, so that's in your own household. Creating again, because Yahushua came, to division. Hebrews 4 and 12.
And there's always been, and Yahushua, there's always been a division between his followers and those that believe not. Those who were blinded from the foundations of the earth and those who were given the eye salve. From the Pharisees and the Sadducees, those men who were boasting in the law and didn't want to believe on them back then, the men who believed on him who actually gave their life for the ministry, man. Paul and the apostles, man. Down to John, the Revelator, who was dipped in hot oil because he was prophesying against the Roman Empire, man. They tried to kill John the apostle, man, but they sent him to the island of Patmos, and then there he was given a revelation,
This is Isaiah 19 and 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai rideth upon a swift cloud.
Yeah, it says the burden of Egypt. Now, what's the matter? Now, remember this. This is Isaiah prophesying, I believe that's 500 years after, the Egyptian captivity. So it's not talking about ancient Egypt. It's actually talking about modern Egypt.
That's powerful, man.
Isaiah 19 and 1. Beautiful. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Yahweh Bashem Yahushai rideth upon a swift cloud.
Bro, a slow cloud.
A swift
The
cloud.
word swift means fast or hasty. A matter of fact, I think it was last year, there was a hastening of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and that cloud is speaking about the chariot, man, the fathership. And through the fathership, we're going to have small little chariots that are going to and fro, executing judgment upon the heathen, man. Pursuant to, I think that's Zechariah, the 5th chapter, how there's a curse that coming upon the earth, which is mainly here in Babylon the Great, man. Go ahead, bro.
And shall come into Egypt, and their idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence.
We got again because it says again, right? Ephesians, Isaiah 19 and 1 again.
Isaiah 19 and 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt.
And they should come into Egypt, go ahead.
and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence.
Right, and that's what's happening, man. The idols of Egypt are being moved. Okay, through the word. So we're destroying strongholds, false doctrines. These different camps that are teaching false doctrines, they're already getting condemned and confounded by the elders apostles at Great Millstone and on down with the rest of the brothers.
Yep, and these other philosophies, they don't tell you prophecy. Okay, they don't tell you what's going to happen in these latter days.
Hey, but if they do tell you prophecy, they'll tell you about Nibiru. Okay, that there's a planet called hell. These ain't no prophecies, man.
Yeah, that's
Yahweh never spoke about Nibiru. Okay, and planet hell, man, that's going off, man.
And that goes into what 1 Peter 4:7 that we brought out. Be sober.
Be sober.
Okay?
Those are those Jewish fables.
Yeah.
You know? This is the book of Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah, 49 and 22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle and spread his wings over Basra. At the end, Slaki, I'm going to start from the top. Jeremiah 49 and 22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle. This is talking about Yahweh Shai. And spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of woman in her pangs.
There you go again. As the woman in travail, when they shall stay in peace and safety, man. So Esau's focus right now is his agenda 2030. But guess what? Yahweh Shai's agenda is before 2030, man. Because Yahweh Shai is going to destroy the idols of Egypt through that swift hell.
What you're witnessing right now with men going out to the highways and byways teaching and preaching this message is the real great reset.
Yep.
The great reset of rulership, man. You want to get Sirach 10 and 8, Baba Shah? You know?
This is Isaiah 19 and 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh Shai ride upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. And the heart,
and that swift cloud is talking about the fathership. If you go to the book of Psalms, Psalms 104 and 3, it talks about how the clouds are chariots. You know, I'll just get there real quick.
And the heart. This is Isaiah 19 and 1 at the bottom. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
And that's happening because that heart is a twofold. First, it's in your mind, your la'ab, right? So the minds of these people, these governments, these different majors, they're getting weak, man. They're getting confounded. But physically, that's gonna cause what? Heart attacks, man. These are mighty men of Egypt.
It's a car. It's a car. It's a car, man. It's a car in them damn bike clubs, man.
Proverbs 4 and 18. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more into that perfect day. The way of the wicked is darkness; they know not what they stumble. So, you know, the people that are out here, they're in darkness. You know what I mean? They're not waiting on that day, the day of Yahweh Shai coming back. They're investing. You know what I mean? They want to. They're enrolling in college.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're focused on their 401ks.
Yeah,
on upgrading their so-called social status.
Yep.
They want to be managers and CEOs. Just investing in vanity, man.
But meanwhile,
booking a room on the Titanic is just sinking, man.
Yep.
On a sinking ship, you're booking a room with the window seat, so you can get a better view of the destruction of you getting destroyed, man. You know, and we're looking to get a front row seat on the chariot, on that fathership, you know, so we can witness the destruction of our enemies, man. That's via the 2/3 and Esau Edom.
And meanwhile, these people, they don't know why certain things happen to them, why they get such a harsh judgment. Because they never hearken to this word. So if you're a Hebrew Israelite, so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American, right, you're hearing this word, you want to hearken to this word. Okay, and basically, you know, try to stay, you know, grounded in this word, because this is the only thing that you can actually get saved by. Esau Edom, which is the so-called white man of this world, he can't give you anything but death and destruction. That's what he was created for, that wrath, or that vessel created for death and destruction.
Yahweh Shai formed all things, even the crooked serpent.
Yep.
You know? You want to get that Sirach 10 and 8,
This is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 10 and verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
And that's what you're witnessing. A transfer in power, a transfer of rulership from Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and the wicked, to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, starting with the elect. Because of unrighteous entry, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. And this man has built his empire and kingdom off the rape, robbery, and murder of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, and the rest of the heathen nations as well. Because he went and took Ham's land. He went and doubled back and got Japheth twice. He ran him out of Europe, and he came in there as the Greeks. And then he came back and doubled back on them, and came over to the Pacific Islands and took them over again, man. You know? So this man's a vagabond. He's a thief. You know? And what you're witnessing with men coming out here professing this message is we're professing a new rulership, a new regime, a new kingdom, man. And that starts with the message going out and proclaiming it. And then Yahweh Bashem Yahushai doing good on the word of his prophets, man.
And real quick, bro, because you mentioned how Esau's a vagabond and a thief, right? There's Genesis 4 and 12. When thou tillest the ground, and shalt not henceforth yield unto thee her strength, a fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Now this is speaking about Cain. But the same spirit that landed on Cain, that was on Cain, now is on Esau Edom. Now he's a vagabond, running from what? Running from his judgment, man, going to and fro, seeking whom he may devour, man. But ultimately, that's for his destruction.
Running from his nationality, you know, trying to if you go look up Esau in the blue letter, it'll say one of the descendants of Ishmael. You know, so on and so forth.
Yeah, because they're in control of everything. They can always change anything they want. Just like when they do these, you know, people try to vote. Okay, they vote for something and they think that's actually going to change anything, but they can veto anything that they want. Okay, Esau Edom is again given their portion. They have been given their portion. That's why King David said, "Protect me from thy sword, which is thy enemy," which is Esau Edom. Okay, so Isaiah 61. Actually, let me start right here. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Okay, so, and that's what we're doing right now by this word that Yahweh Shem Shai has given us. We're on Esau's heel, and we're pulling him down from what his reign, his dominion. Okay, and you know, and by these words, we're able to create you know, a fire to actually to this place, because we're exposing this Esau Edom who he is, telling him he is the devil that it speaks about in the scriptures. He is the wicked, and we're telling them who we are, because they're not Jewish. Though they are Jewish, they're not Jews. They're not the real Jews. Okay, they are you know, the synagogue of Satan. Yeah, they are the synagogue of Satan, because what have they done? They've stolen everybody's heritage. They want to be everyone but Esau.
There's three classes of men. You have the sons of men, who are the heathen nations, the sons of the wicked, which are the sons of Esau Edom, and you have the sons of God, princes of the powers. You know, Yasha Allah. And that's what it's all about, in the form of the understanding who the nations are. And we're sent out to prophesy against the sons of the wicked and the sons of men, the heathen nation. You know? And you have the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, which are a totally different nation. You know? They might as well be the sons of men and the sons of the wicked, because they're completely not part of the elect.
More wicked than the wicked. More wicked than the wicked. So 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Yeah, because of the kingdom, it doesn't end there. Okay? It's not a 1,000-year period either. Okay, we're fighting for immortality and salvation through Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. And we're praying that we're those men that we're going to be able to be saved in that time of affliction, when the missiles start firing off, the time of famine, the time of you know, people just bugging out, the time of the zombie apocalypse, right? That's your control center says that's going to happen. Okay, when Esau Edom, a lot of times when he says something's going to happen, when it's something wicked, it usually happens because they love wickedness, but they want to tell you it. That's what they do with these movies. You know, they want to, you know, as far as like the Hunger Games, where they have everyone in slavery and under subjection. That's kind of what's going to happen. We're going to be in a dystopian state of mind. Okay, because you're not going to know when your next meal is going to come, but those that serve Yahweh Shema Shai shall eat.
We're not going to be in a dystopian state of mind, Lord willing. Everybody else is outside of this truth.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're going to have to see a lot of dystopian as far as death and destruction. You're going to see, you might see some of your family members not have certain things or die.
Or bugging out.
They're bugging out. Yep. Because we read that earlier. The division in the household.
And that's what it means in Isaiah 19th chapter when the brother Shamar read about how the minds of the people are going to melt. That means you're going to be bugging out, man.
Yep.
You've been falling from heart attacks, man. Because of the things that we're going to see that's going to come upon Babylon the Great, which is a modern-day Egypt and modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah.
And their minds are actually going to physically melt because they're going to be a part of the nuclear destruction.
All the time.
The missiles, yep.
And well, that's prophecy, bro. In Ezekiel, I think that's 22, how it speaks about Yahweh Shai letting those wicked two-thirds getting turned into, what is it, straws? Yes, Ezekiel 22. Ezekiel 22 and 21.
Let's start with 18, brother.
Ezekiel 22 and 18.
Say 18.
God, it's the parable of the dross and the furnace. Now, the word dross means worthless, right?
Start with 17.
Ezekiel 22 and 17. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross. All of they are brass and tin.
And we're starting to see that dross right there in front of your face, if you can see them, man.
Yeah.
Those are those guys who are boasting in the law, that they can be perfect in flesh. The only one that was perfect in this flesh was Yahweh Shai, man. And we need Yahweh Shai to get that new body, to obtain perfection.
Real quick, bro, there's another word for dross that the Amalekites, the Jewish, call it, I think it's a goyim, which means worthless eaters, man. So 2/3 of our people, they're actually worthless eaters. So back to Ezekiel 22 and 18. Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross. All they are brass and tin and iron and lead. In the midst of the furnace, they are even the dross of silver, right? Meaning they have impurities, man. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because ye are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you in the midst of Jerusalem. And they gather silver and brass and iron, and lead and tin in the midst of the furnace to blow the fire upon it to melt it. So will I gather you in my anger, in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you.
And when you make something pure, you melt down all the impurities, man. You know? And when something is pure, you can see your own reflection in it. Like the brother brought out a month ago, you know?
That's how you know silver or gold is ready, when you see your own reflection. That's when it's ready. If you're not able to see your reflection, man, and that gold or that silver, that means that gold or silver is not ready. It's impure. It's not pure.
And that's why Yahweh has to look at us through Yahweh Shai, because we're not pure. You know, we're not perfect in this flesh. But those men who endure unto the end, who get caught up into the fathership, they're going to attain perfection. And that's a new body, you know, where you're not going to be able to go off. You're not going to have to deal with this sinful flesh. You're not going to have to witness, you know, our people in an unrighteous state either, man. All Israel will be righteous in that day when the elect are given pure perfection in the form of the new body, man. You can't boast in perfection in unimmortal flesh.
Yeah, because if you do boast in perfection in this mortal flesh, that means you don't need Yahweh Shai.
Because if you do one thing off, that means you broke the whole law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Came
So
to intent.
yeah. And so there's, you know, for instance, you know, if you take the bus or something like that, and you sit down where a woman sat down and she was on her period, then
going off.
Yeah, that you're going off. Okay. For another instance, your clothing.
Yep.
Okay. As far as your clothing, you're supposed to have what, one article or one actual.
And there's so many tit for tats we can go
we're
about.
just saying a couple,
we can go about all day mentioning the law, you know. And we don't make void the law. We establish the law, but you can't keep the law in this captivity, in this simple flesh, in this perfection. The only one that was able to do that was Yahweh Shai, man. Right. And that's the only way you're going to be able to get perfection, is Yahweh Shai. There's no way around Yahweh Shai, man. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai made it like that on purpose, man. So you can't get around honoring and worshiping his son and giving him his due respect. Because he was the only one that was perfect.
Yep. Yeah, and if you don't give, right, let me just get this. Hosea 4 and 6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Yeah, and our people are lost. They're in Christianity churches, right? They're in this baptism. They're in the 5%ers. The brother from Birmingham always says we're in a kooky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just in a lost state of mind as far as these different philosophies.
Sean Poe.
Yeah, Sean, yeah,
Sean
exactly.
Poe.
Yeah.
He wants to be a Amalekite Jew.
Yep.
He wants to be a Hasidic Jew. You know, one of those one of the small hat people. Yeah, one of the small hat people.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be who he actually is. Okay, which is a Hebrew Israelite. He's destroyed for what?
Same with Amari Stoudemire.
Yep.
You know, wants to be Yiddish. You know, wants to be one of the the small hat people over there. He thinks that those are the two people over there.
And then Shine, he's actually part of he's a politician in Belize. Okay, so now he's really, he was in the hip hop industry, which was wicked, and now you're in the politics talking about you're helping your people, but you know that the politicians that's Esau Edom's place.
And Paul spoke about that, our people being tossed to and fro with different doctrines, man.
Yep.
And also, real quick, bro, Isaiah 1 and 3, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel does not know, my people does not consider, so our people don't even know who they are. A simple animal like a donkey.
We got a launch check too.
Simple animals like a donkey or even a dog, man, they know who they are, but our people don't know who they are, man. They still call themselves blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, okay, calling upon false idols. These are examples of our people being lost, man.
And that goes back to Esau, you know, because Esau was the facilitator of the wine, you know. You want to get Habakkuk 2 and 15 and 16, brother, Michelle?
This is Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they have rejected knowledge, right? This wisdom that Yahweh Shemashah has given us, that Yahweh Shah being that perfect lamb.
That's a grafted word that's able to save your soul, man.
Yep. Done. And to be able to, save you from your sin. You know, your iniquity, all the sins. That's why we're supposed to be, in sadness or in sorrow. We're supposed to be sorrowful, for the things that we have done, we have committed, because any one of those could have been death.
Yeah.
Okay? We could have just...
Like, for example, what are some examples of getting put to death working on the Sabbath, man? Picking up sticks. These are examples of getting put to death, man, right on the spot.
And just because you came into the truth doesn't mean you're avoided that punishment if you want to judge other Israelites by that measure. You know, if you've ever worked in the Sabbath, just because you know the truth now and you know a few precepts, if you want to judge other Israelites based upon that iniquity, then the same type of judgment's coming unto you, man. That's why we're supposed to show mercy. And showing mercy is actually teaching your brother the true, correct breakdown of it, man.
And not putting that burden upon your brother like the wicked Pharisees were doing during the time of Matthew, the 23rd chapter, man. Okay, for example, in the Acts of 15th chapter, you had wicked Israelites telling the new believers to get circumcised in order to get saved. And that's going on. That's not true. That's putting a burden, a yoke upon the new believers, man.
And that's what these other camps are doing. Like Sakari, like the WFIs, like the Sons of Thunder. You know, and most of those camps, all of them, better yet, don't have the truth, man. They either go off on the MOTV, they don't want to worship Yahweh Shai, they don't want to come under order, or they're just pushing a doctrine that's unmerciful, man.
Also, another example of them going off is actually going against the prophecies of Isaiah, the 3rd chapter, where it says, can two walk together except they be agreed?
Yep.
And what are these different camps doing, man? Gathering themselves together with different doctrines.
Unity
camps. These are examples of going against Yahweh Shai, going against the spirit of prophecy, man.
And you saw what happened. I think that was down
south. And you can
south.
confound their whole camp with one question.
Yeah.
What's Revelation 13, 15 through 18 mean?
Right.
Yep, exactly.
Is Cornelius an Israelite? That's one question that can confound their whole camp.
Or asking them, what's the example of Cornelius?
Haley, drop the board and help.
And they don't have an answer for that.
Yeah. And you can't be gathered with a man who thinks that Cornelius is a heathen, but then he's talking about Esau, he's not going to be in the kingdom.
Yeah.
Well, that's folly. That's not sound doctrine, man. You know, a guy, you're holding camp and you're holding posts, and this guy's talking about the MOTV, the Karagma is spiritual. It's an embargo. When they're setting up everything all digital all around you, man.
When there's supposed to be a separation because there's a remnant. Okay, not just because you're of Israel doesn't mean you're going to get saved. Okay, you have to be
all
of,
Israel's Israel.
yeah, you have to be of that remnant. Only Yahweh Shem Shai is only dealing with a very small sanctuary of men, right? And so not everyone's gonna have. We know that there's gonna be false prophets. Okay, we know that people are gonna be raving. They're gonna be
Raving wolves in sheep's
sheep's
clothing.
clothing. Yeah, because what do they want? They want money. They want riches of this world. Okay,
Attention, women.
Yeah, attention.
A lot of these guys just teach so they can be deep and try to pull women, man. You know,
Hiding behind the name Yahweh Shem Shai, but in reality, doing it for filthy lucre sakes, man.
God.
And because
Just to sell you merchandise, just to sell you French T-shirts and fitted hats that say whatever Sakari sells.
Expensive ass fitted hats too,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, well,
$60, $80.
And then prophesy with them on.
Well, the new thing is they
To
have
promote it, to promote your business.
the new thing is the rap battle. They're having a rap battle, in June or whatever. So they're trying to have a rap battle. You're trying to use the words of Yahweh Shem Shai, which are perfect. Okay, which are
Those are men
trying
that
to
teach, those are the men who are teaching Yahweh Shai to strife and contention. Because you're supposed to teach Yahweh Shem Shai to warn Israel of all the things that are coming, man. To get the blood off your hands and so that the elect will be sealed. But you're teaching Israel for strife and contention so you can confuse them and to keep them in a state of confusion and to gain monetarily off of them, man. To gain monetarily off of their simplicity, man.
Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they have rejected knowledge. And when you reject knowledge, you're rejecting your Shai. You're rejecting the kingdom, basically, because you want to stay here. That's called Stockholm syndrome, right? I will also reject thee. Thou shalt not be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of our power Yahweh. I will also forget thy children.
It says, I will also reject thee. And Yahweh actually referenced the scripture. Was it Hosea 3 and 6? And 4 and 6, I will also reject thee, because Yahweh said, many will call upon my name, that I prophesy in your name.
Can you read that again?
But he's going to say, I never knew thee. That's an example of being rejected. I never knew thee. Thou a child of wickedness, roughly paraphrasing.
This is Hosea 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee. Thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of our power Yahweh. I will also forget thy children.
1 Samuel 2 and 3, talk no more exceeding proudly, let not arrogancy come out of your mouth, for Adonai Yahweh Shem Shai is a power of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. So our power is a power of knowledge, man. And this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and the true, correct wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures and the doctrine and faith is what's going to save you, man. Not fringes, man. You know? Not the law, man. You can't keep the law in its perfection in this wicked flesh. You know? How many of you guys are putting away your woman and have a separate household to keep her in when she's on her rag? You know? How many of you guys who are boasting in the law have the ability to do that, man? Are you prophesying with phylacteries on?
Oh, God.
You know? Do you have phylacteries on your arm or on your head? You know?
And also, bro, when all hell breaks loose and you have wicked jigs who boast on fringes, when these are different.
What, isn't it in the law to keep the Passover holy?
Oh, and they did it in where? In that strip club? Was it
Yeah.
a strip club?
Yeah, booty girls at the Passover. So if you're boasting in the law, you're dead right there, man.
That's a hard instruction right there.
And that's why you need mercy. That's why you need Yahweh Shai, man. But these guys are saying you're not supposed to worship Yahweh Shai. Those are the same scribes and Pharisees coming back who put our Lord to death, man. The same wicked Sakari murderers coming back wanting to do the same thing all over again through feeding you false doctrine.
Because that word murder, okay, actually translates to the Greek word Sicarios, which goes into Sicari. Those men who wore daggers to try to overcome the Roman Empire through wickedness.
And Yahweh Shai said if you don't love your brother, then you're a murderer.
Oh, God.
They don't really love their brothers, man.
They don't, man.
Because they're feeding you GMOs. You know? They're feeding you false doctrine, man. And it's in the law not to eat GMOs. You know? Altered seeds. That's what they're giving you, man. Altered doctrine, man.
That's true.
Isaiah 5 and 13. Therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge, and they are honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up their thirst. Therefore hell, right, hell which is a condition, hath enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure in their glory and their multitude and their pomp. He that rejoiced shall descend into it, and the mean man shall be brought down, and the mighty man shall be humbled, and the eyes of the lofty shall be humbled. But the Lord Yahweh Shemashai of armies shall be exalted in judgment, and our power Yahweh that is holy shall be sanctified in righteousness.
And that's what the true elect are doing. We're exalting Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You know? Because this isn't all of our own merit. You know? We come out here because we fear Adonai Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and there's still work to be done. Yahweh Shai hasn't cracked the sky, so we're supposed to occupy until he comes. You know? This is Deuteronomy 4 and 2. Let me get one more of these guys, and then we'll go back into precepts that we had. You know,
Luke 18.
Luke 18 and so on and so forth. Deuteronomy 4 and 2. Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Adonai Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, your power which I command you. And what have these guys done? They basically omitted the whole New Testament. So it's in the law not to add or subtract from the word. And they're saying that, you know, basically Paul didn't know what he was talking about. Wasn't Paul a Pharisee of Pharisees? So Paul was an expert in the law, man. So who are you to say that Paul didn't know what he was talking about? Paul this, Paul that. Paul was ordained, you know, by the men in Judea, man.
And all throughout the letters or epistles of Apostle Paul, he was referencing the Old Testament. Okay?
He knew the law better than you niggas, man. And the spirit is hopping on me to call you niggas because that's what you exactly are, man. Riches are too comely for a niggard, man.
And that's biblical. That's in scripture.
Niggas in the scriptures, man. And we just gonna call it straight. Once again, we keep it real at this camp. You know? And other starting with the elders and apostles, great millstone on down, who have kept it real from the get-go, man.
We keep it raw and uncut, man. For a lot of you Israelites who wanna listen to smooth things. Prophesy deceit.
That's the legacy of the prophets. The prophets aren't here to tell you, you know, smooth things. There was a man that said, there's a man that we can inquire of the Lord, but I hate him because he never prophesied good concerning me. And that's the report of the prophets. We're not going to prophesy good of you concerning. We're not going to prophesy good concerning you if you're telling our people lies and fables, so you can flatten your pockets, man. And you know.
That's right. And Yahushai was hated for this word. So how much more are we going to be hated?
Well, Yahushua was the ultimate prophet of prophets.
Yeah. Austere men.
He was spit on, mocked, ridiculed, you know, mocked, worship, and his men, you know, are gonna get that same type of ridicule in these last days, man. You know, not to the extent that Yahushua catching it, but we're gonna have to catch hell just like Yahushua. The servant is not greater than his master, man.
Yeah, because this is a trial of our faith. Okay, this is a testimony. Will you endure to the end for my name's sake? Okay, because this is not it's not given to everyone. So this is again a test of our faith, our trial of our faith to be able to believe in Yahweh Shemashai. Okay. And what do you get? Immortality, salvation, land, women, victory over death, victory over your oppressor.
Yeah, or your oppressor.
Yeah. Sirach 25 and 7. You know what I mean?
That's the goal, is to endure unto the end and see the destruction of our oppressor, man. That's perfection.
Yep.
You know, because in that day you're gonna get the new body, man.
Romans 12 and 2.
You know, but you're gonna have to stand stiff for the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai.
That's the only way to receive that celestial body, man.
You know, you're gonna have to stand stiff, you know, for the doctrine, you know, for the name, and you're gonna have to call out bullshit when you see it, and call it bullshit when everybody else is sitting on the comment boards talking about, you know, sword emoji. They cut them up, but no prophecies coming out of that camp station at all. They're not warning you.
No edification.
All boasting in their own knowledge in the law, man. You know?
They're ultimately boasting on their possessions. What they're wearing, the car that they drive.
Yep.
That's being carnal. That's not what Yahushua was teaching. Yahushua was actually teaching what? Compassion, faith, mercy, and judgment.
Yep. And what did Yahushua tell those men who tried to cut him up? You omit the weightier matters of the law. Faith. You know, you want to get them up in the show?
This is Matthew 23 and 23. I got you right here, bro. Matthew 23 and 23. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye pay tithe of men and the nice and coming, and have omitted the weightier weightier matters of the law.
What's the weightier matters of the law? Let's let the scriptures talk about it. Let's let the scriptures tell you.
Judgment, mercy, and faith.
Judgment, mercy, and faith. And a lot of these men lack mercy, you know, they lack judgment, and they lack faith.
These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. Ye blind guides which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. And when you go down here to verse 25, Yahushua spoke a parable, comparing and contrasting of, washing a cup. When you wash a cup, you got to make sure you clean the inside and then the outside. But these wicked Israelites are actually just cleaning their outside appearance, man. Not knowing that when Yahushua returns, he's going to look at the inward man, at your inward spirit. So this is Matthew 23 and 25. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess. Verse 27. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto the whited sepulchres, kind of like graveyards, which indeed appear beautiful outward, right? You have these wicked Israelites who might appear, holier than thou, keeping the law with the fringes on 24/7. But then what? It says, verse 27, but are within full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous.
Dead men's bones.
Dead men's bones.
They're still dry bones. They haven't received the rakah, the breath of life.
So, matter of fact, these are actually prophecies that Ezekiel saw. He saw those dead bones, which are these 2/3. They're still in the valley of the shadow of death, man. Spiritually. Verse 27, 28. Even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Verse 30. And say, if we had been in the days of our forefathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore ye be witness unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets. So the house of Solomon, you're the same spirits that went after the house of David to slay them because they were righteous in the inward parts, right?
This is Proverbs 20 and 27. The spirit of a man is the candle of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Rashai, searching the inward parts of the belly.
The belly is what? Your mind. Your true intent. Why are you in this truth for? Are you here for filthy lucre like these two-thirds of the nation of Israel? Or are you here to get actually delivered from destruction, man?
It reads right here, Proverbs 21 and 16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding.
Yeah, and what is understanding? Understanding pursuant to Job 28 is to depart from evil. That's how you get your understanding and wisdom of that candlestick that Yahushua gave you. Go ahead, bro.
The way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
Yeah, and Yahushua said, if the dead follow the dead, they shall fall into the pit. We'll be paraphrasing.
That's because they don't have the breath of life. Yeah.
Right.
Let me get two precepts that back that up. Genesis 21 and 16. Genesis 2 and 7. Genesis 2 and 7. And Adonai Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai power formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So unless you have the breath of life, the Rakha Kodash, you're not a living soul, man. You're just a dead man walking, man. You know, and you see a lot of dead men walking in Israel, claiming that they're living souls, claiming that they have the breath. You know, 2nd Ezra 3 and 5. I'm gonna start with 4. O Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai who bears rule. O Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai who bears rule. Thou speakest at the beginning when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee. You know?
I want to back you up, expound on that. She said, Job 32 and 8. But there is a spirit in man. I'll read that one more time. Job 32 and 8. But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration, which that's the breath of life, of the Almighty giveth them understanding. So the only way for you to get the breath of life is to what? Is through Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, and that's a gift, man. Pursuant to 1 Peter 1 and 1. I want to get that real quick.
John, the book of St. John 20 and 21 and 22. Then said Yahushua to them again, peace be unto you, capital P, the the Prince of Peace, the King of Peace, the King of Salem, the King of Righteousness.
That's Yahweh Shai.
Melchizedek, man. And that's the only way you can perceive, you can perceive and receive, you know, what's going on, man. The Rakak Wadash. And that comes from Yahweh Shai.
That's a gift.
Yep.
It's an actual gift that Yahweh Shai gave this man in order for them to keep on going in this wicked society, man.
It's given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom.
But unto them it is not given.
It's not given. And it's being made plain upon tables who has it and who doesn't, man. You know, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai is separating the clean from the unclean.
Yeah, and that's in the law, Leviticus 11th chapter. You gotta separate the clean from the unclean.
John 20 and 21, then say Yahweh Shai to them again, peace be unto you, capital P, as my Father had sent me, even so I send you. And in these last days, he sent his men who continue in the apostles' doctrine, who have this same doctrine right here that was given from Yahweh Shai. You know? Who he gave to the apostles. That same doctrine is still here, baby. And it's still here with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, man. The book of St. John 20 and 22. And when he had said this, he breathed on them and said unto them, receive ye the Holy Spirit.
Yep.
And that's a gift, man.
Where's that in the book of John?
The book of St. John,
Okay,
20 and
okay.
22. You know?
It's beautiful, bro.
This is Ezekiel 37 and 5. Thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, said unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and you shall live. Okay, so that's how
the breath of life. Yeah. You know? The Rakak Wadash, man. And a lot of men, you're starting to see that they don't have it, man. You know?
I will lay sinews upon you.
Sinews.
Sinews upon you, and will bring up the flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall live, and you shall know that I am Yahweh Bashem Yahshai.
A lot of these men have the skin, they have the flesh, they know that they're Israel. You know, they know the law, they know a few precepts, but they don't have the Rakah.
That's about it.
The breath, you know? And the breath is what actually makes you a living soul, man. That's what separates you from just being a normal Israelite who knows a few things, man. Is the breath, the Holy Spirit, the Rakak Wadash.
This is Ezekiel 37 and 7. So I prophesied as a commanded, and I was prophesied there was noise, and behold, a shaking, and their bones came together, bone to bone. Right? And when behold, the sinews and the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. So
No breath in them.
Yeah, no breath.
You know? Still dead men walking. Dead man's bones, man.
And like that movie Pirates of the Caribbean, there's an actual trilogy that says dead man walking. That's in 2/3 of the nation of Israel, man. You're a dead man walking in a physical terrestrial body, man.
This is Ezekiel 37 and 9. And then said unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus said the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, come from the four winds, O breath, and breath upon these slain, that they may live.
And breathe upon these slain that they may live. And that's what's happening in these last days. You have men all across the four winds of the earth breathing the breath, you know, which is the spirit of life through YouTube channels, rivers of living water going through those channels, and it's able to revive those dead bones and give them the breath of life through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. And what you're witnessing is a major thing happening, man. You know, this isn't light. This isn't light work, man. Because you have a lot of people who walk up and down the boardwalk, look at us crazy, but in that day, when they're starving, you know, their physical bodies are being worn out because of the famine, they're going to be looking for answers, man. And they're going to remember that they walked by a group of men who are talking about destruction, famine, you know, woe, World War III, the Karagma, the MOTB. And all these things are coming to pass. And these other groups are warning you, man. It's all about, look at me. You know, that watch me, that watch me whip, watch me nay spirit. You know, watch me. Yeah, it's burnt, man.
Yeah, and to get this, you have to be meek and lowly. Okay? And that means you have to humble yourself down to Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, because there's an order. Just like the elders and apostles. Okay? They have to humble themselves down. They've been in it 35 years, 30 years, 20 years, but they still show respect.
They still watch some of the other brothers' videos.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, Elder Apostle Jabari says, I watch, you know, Bakar Mott's videos, so on and so forth.
Over
You know?
the different camps,
Yeah.
but they still teach the same doctrine.
Yeah,
Same
they learn from us. Vice versa, we learn from them. You know?
Yep, because we're all part of that body. Okay, First Corinthians 3:16, where it speaks about we are that temple. Okay, because again, he doesn't, Yahweh Shemar Shai doesn't dwell in a temple made with hands.
And just because you don't see the apostles commenting on your videos, so on and so forth, don't be fooled. Don't be too high-minded to think that they're not watching you, man.
Yeah.
And that's where we're very careful to, what we bring out, so on and so forth, and elders and apostles, and elders and bishops, as well, man.
Yeah, because there's eyes everywhere, man.
You never know who's watching.
There's eyes everywhere, in camera and outside the camera.
Son.
It says Ezekiel 37:10. So I prophesied as it commanded me, and the breath came unto them, and lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
They live, man. And that's the goal, is to live. You know? And that's the goal, is to live to see the fall of your enemy, and to live. You want to get Luke 21:36, Robert Kashah? I don't want to butcher it.
Yeah, because right now we're standing standing on our feet in great boldness. What? Prophesying to what? The dry bones.
I got you, bro, because you mentioned great boldness, right?
Yeah.
Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man, right? It don't say the wicked man. It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness. Now we pray we are those men who are standing in great boldness, man, because anybody can say they're righteous, but are your works, are your fruits declaring that? It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his neighbors. That's it for that.
Luke 21:36. Watch ye therefore. We were opening up with this topic, we might as well go back to it. Watch ye therefore, and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things. What things? The sword, famine, death, destruction, Esau, Edom, the martial law troops, the Gerber troops,
The strike force.
the strike force,
The
the mechanical robotic dogs.
Yep. The guerrilla warfare
The
thing.
Jakes who are going to be not in the spirit of wanting to wait for Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, who are going to be ravishing each other, man.
Right.
You know? Your own people, man. Your own mama turning you in. Your own sister turning you in, man. Escape all those things. And the elect are going to escape those things.
And it says pray always, right? And Apostle Paul spoke about pray without ceasing, man.
Right.
So you got to keep consistently praying that Yahweh Shai delivers you from all your struggles, man. Remember?
Yep. Luke 21:36 again from the top. Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. And who's the Son of Man? Yahweh Shai. And if you go into this precept, the Son, the word Son has a capital S. You know, the same word, Son, it's also mentioned in the book of Psalms, the 2nd chapter, and that word Son has a capital S. And that's in the Old Testament, for you Old Testament only heads. Who's the Son? That's being talked about in the book of Psalms. You know? Yep. Who's that same Son that's being mentioned in the book of 2nd Ezra, 13th chapter, with the capital S? That's talking about Yahweh Shai, man. You know? Because you got a lot of guys who subscribe to the Old Testament and the Apocrypha, but they don't want to reverence Yahweh Shai. Well, you're going to have to answer for those. You're going to have to answer those questions pretty soon.
That's Luke 19, because when you go into that parable of wicked Israelites who don't want to worship Yahweh Shai, that word reign over him, or Yahweh Shai reigning over the wicked Israelites, that word reign goes into the Greek word, I believe is basilica, which means a commander. So if you don't want to worship the commander, man, you're gonna get put to death. You're gonna get executed. You want to get some more quick?
You guys want to go back to 1 Peter? We're just gonna roll with the screen. Yeah.
Good. Did you get 4 and 17?
No, I didn't get it. We went to 4 and 7.
And then skip down to 7.
Okay, good. So, we'll go back to this. Might as well.
And wherever the Spirit takes us, man.
Good. Well, because this is what's going to happen. You know, the judgment's going to start.
That's a beautiful precept.
Yeah.
Go into it.
First Peter.
We're talking about it right now.
Yeah. That's why might as well go back to it. And then we had Luke 18 over. 1 Peter 4 and 17. For the time has come, and judgment must begin at the house of our power Yahweh, and then first begin at us. What shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh B'Shem Shai? Okay. So those that they know that they're Israelites, right? But they don't subscribe to the Charagma, Revelation 13. They don't want to call on Yahweh Shai, the Son, okay, which is our Savior, right? Shiloh.
You want to get
Okay.
Luke 19:14 real quick, bro? And I'll bring out the word for rain. We already have it right here, bro.
Luke 19 what?
Yeah, and 14.
Let me get a precept real quick to back you up on that. 1 Peter 4:17. Second Ezra 9 and 13. I just get right to the point. And therefore be not curious. It's like it. Second Ezra 9 and 13. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. You know?
Because in that day, you want to be counted worthy. You're not going to worry about, something else because it's going to be so much chaos. You know what I mean? You just hope that you're going to be one of those men. Okay? And just let me back this up when I get into
go ahead, bro.
and it says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? So if the righteous are scarcely going to be saved, what about the people that mocked and scoffed? What's going to happen to them? Okay, they're going to get caught up in this famine. They're going to get caught up in the second lake of fire, these missiles. Okay, all the things that are about to happen, the strike forces, right? These guerrilla warfare tactics that they're doing over there in North Carolina, those are going to come upon Babylon the Great. Okay, Babylon goes back to Cabal, which goes back to confusion. Okay, there's going to be a lot of confusion, fervent heat. Okay, people melting them. Again, we read earlier, mighty men travailing like a woman in pregnancy. Okay, yeah, because that's why we fear Yahweh Shem Ashai, because we know that these words are what? Faithful and true.
Sirach 40 and 9, real quick. Death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. And that's what's going to happen to the wicked of our people during Jacob's trouble, man. I'm going to read it again. Sirach 40 and 9. Death and bloodshed. Esau, Edom coming in with the sword. Our own people coming in with the sword. You have Issachar and Zebulon ravishing each other out in LA County right now, man. Raiding each other, with the sword, taking all your food out your fridge, then taking the woman. You know what I'm saying?
That's committing adultery.
Yeah.
Between Leviticus 19 chapter.
But them Jakes don't care. Yeah, it's Jake, man. Sirach 40 and 9. Death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine. Famine, man, that's a cruel way to die, man.
And that's actually happening spiritually, man. Our people are dying from a lack of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Because they refuse to hearken unto the word. They refuse to hearken unto wise counsel, man.
Because this word, real quick, this word is to the four corners of the earth. It's everywhere. It's even on Main
Have they
Street.
not heard?
Yeah, have they
You
not
can't say you haven't heard. You can't use that excuse no more, man.
Yep. Because
you got these other camps out here, and they may not have the 100% truth, but they're still teaching Israel that they're Israel. And we're just asking those guys to sharpen it up a little bit, man. To tighten it up a little bit, man. And that's actually love. If we didn't care, we wouldn't say anything. We just let them stay in their folly. Yeah, nigga, keep on teaching that bullshit doctrine so you can get destroyed.
open rebuke is better than secret love.
That's hate, But if I love you, I'm gonna tell you, nah, man, nah, bro. Just like when you're recording in the studio, I hate to use a worldly example. If you're not spitting fire, they're gonna be like, if you go to
hold that.
you go to one of those podcasts where you freestyle and you freestyle like designer or something like that, man. And you talk about your Charlamagne gonna be like, nah, bro, you ain't got it, man.
You ain't got it.
Just like what was that show they had back in the world? Showtime at the Apollo. Yeah. If you were whack, they just snatch you up off the stage.
Yep, and have someone dance.
With the umbrella, you know what I'm saying? They have somebody dance.
Yeah. Throw them off the stage.
Yeah, but
we get booed. You know what I mean? Because again, we're singing this new song. And this new song, those that are harkening to the words and hearkening, it's a beautiful sound. It's Yahweh. It's Yahweh Shem Shai. But when we hear something that's off, we're like, nah, that's not that song.
That's
not it.
How should I say it? My sheep hear my voice. And a stranger they will not hearken unto, man. So real quick precept, because the brother Aj mentioned how when we rebuke other Israelites, that's an example of love, and that's what Yahushua was doing upon these different 7 churches of Asia Minor. Revelation 3 and 19, As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Yeah, you got to repent from your false doctrines, man, and come to your true source and true power. Okay, teach the 100% doctrine that the elders and prophets of the great millstone taught you since day one. It says, verse 20, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any may hear my voice and open the door, and who's the door? Yahweh Shai, pursuant to John the 10th chapter. I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. You got a picture, bro?
Yeah, this is Acts. And I feel that Luke.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah. So this is Acts 3 and 19. Repent ye therefore and be converted.
Oh, it says, repent ye therefore and be converted. So you just don't repent and just be wicked. You got to convert your inward man.
Yep.
Okay, your true intent. Go ahead, bro.
And that comes with examining yourself on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's 2 Corinthians 13 and 5, man. And that word examine means to judge yourself first and foremost. How are you going to judge or examine another brother if you haven't even examined yourself, man?
Yep. So that's being a hypocrite.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, and that's going in. That means turning away from turning off that old man. You know, those childish ways that you had, whatever your worldly, like for instance, this is, the pagan holidays. You don't have to not celebrating those days. Certain things like that. So repent ye therefore and be converted, that your sins may be blotted out, when the times of refreshing shall come from the presence of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And he shall send Yahushai HaMashiach, which before was preached unto you. Right? And this word is everywhere. Okay, we were talking about me and Brother Osh and Wu-Tang Clan show. Even though that's worldly, right? But they still even had Israel in there. Okay, they had Israel, even though they were,
I had the ICBK in there,
Yeah. But still, I mean, because you see something, right, and then you inquire. Because you have to inquire for this knowledge. Okay, now I got it. I saw it one time. No, you have to inquire on a daily basis. That's why brothers watch videos all the time, and then to get comfort.
And not only that, acquiring knowledge, but acquiring the knowledge and then apply it. Apply it for everything that you've learned from the elders and prophets of the great millstone on down to the prophets in the Old Testament, man.
Yeah, you're not supposed to hide your tail in your napkin, man.
Yep.
Let your light shine bright.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean going to the supermarket wearing fringes, man.
Hell no.
Or no,
Work.
you're at
You're
at what's that shit? You're at
CBS.
CVS. I was thinking of a chicken restaurant.
Popeye.
Raising Cane's, you got Raising Cane's. With the fringes on, man, and the border of blue. That's not what it's about, man. It's about coming out here and teaching and preaching truth and sincerity, man. And letting your light shine bright by coming out here and professing His word in His true form, man. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the legacy of the prophets, man. You want to get Isaiah 54 and 17? That's what we opened up camp with last camp.
You want to finish that one off, bro?
Yeah, this is Acts 3 and 20, and shall send Yahushai HaMashiach, which before preached unto you. Right? And that's through the form of this word. We're able to get Yahushai HaMashiach, this truth. Right down mouth.
Because what does Yahweh Shai translates to? It means victory, man. So how are you going to get the victory? By following the same example as Yahweh Shai did 2,000 years ago, man.
There's Acts 3 and 21, whom the heaven must receive until the times of restitution of all things, which our power Yahweh has spoken by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began. Yeah, so, you know what I mean? Preaching what? What are we preaching? The kingdom. That we're able to have immortality and salvation, that we are those men that it speaks about in the scriptures, right? Those prophets.
Goes into that.
Isaiah 54 and 17. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, thou shalt condemn.
Every tongue that rises up against you, thou shalt condemn. That's the legacy of the prophets. Want to continue?
God, Isaiah 54 and 17, on top again, no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage.
This is the heritage
of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai.
Yep. And that reminds me of what they were asking the Lord. Under what authority, what jurisdiction do you come with your doctrine? Well, it's under the authority of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. It's under the authority of Yahweh, man. We're coming in the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai with His doctrine, man, with His message. Where the word of a king is, there is power, man. And who are you? Who are you to say? And who are you to say, what doest thou, man? I'll get that.
There's another one in Luke speaking about condemning those who rise up against you with words. I think that's Luke 10, bro, where it says, I'll give you power to take down
10
scorpions.
and 19.
This is Luke chapter 10 and 19. To back up Isaiah 54 and 17, the Old Testament. Luke 10 and 19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. I believe that word power is the synonymous.
Look it up. Dynamis. It's beautiful. It goes into the authority that Yahweh Shai gave his prophets, man.
10 and 19.
Power, I think, dynamis or exoius. One of them. Both of them are beautiful definitions.
Which that's also a gift pursuant to, I think that's 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, how Yahushua distributes different gifts to his men to fulfill prophecy and break down the strongholds of the enemy.
That's why being a part of the body, real quick. Being part of the body is very important. Everybody has different measures. You know what I mean? Some people know more about secular history. You know, some brothers maybe hold signs or whatever. Some people pay tithes. Some people pray. Okay, so everyone is important.
Certain brothers may be able to speak a different language.
Yeah,
Certain brothers are very knowledgeable in the law. Certain brothers are very knowledgeable in the testimony. Certain brothers are very knowledgeable in different accounts, being able to remember the king's name, what happened, what happened as far as the storyline. Certain brothers are very knowledgeable in the Apocrypha. Certain brothers may be very knowledgeable in all aspects, and that's a large measure given to that brother. But for certain men who are given much is required.
It says 100-fold, someone given 60-fold.
Yeah. And just because you're given 100-fold, you're not supposed to look upon the man who's given 30-fold, man.
Because we always see that same penny, which is the kingdom of heaven.
Ecclesiastes 8:4, where the word of a king is, there is power, and who may say unto him, what doest thou? And this is the king's scroll right here. This is a message directly from the king of the universe, man. And who are you to say, what doest thou? YouTube? Who are you to say, what doest thou? Instagram, Facebook, who, is taking down brothers' posts, taking down brothers' pages on social media and so on and so forth. Who are you, man? You're just a mortal. You're just another dead bone, man, who doesn't have the skin of the flesh, because you're children of the wicked, man. The sons of men, man.
That's why that brother brought out the tread upon vipers and yeah. So yeah, you want to bring it out?
Yeah, this is
because that's what we have to do. We have to.
I'll read the precept. Luke 10 and 19. Right? Luke 10 and 19. Behold, and this is the words of Yahweh Shai. This is red writing. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you.
Now that word power in Luke chapter 10 and verse 19 is pronounced dynamis. Oh, the dynamis, kind. And it says a force. It says the ability to work miracles, mighty and wonderful works. Strength, power, ability. Power performing miracles, moral power, and excellence of soul. The power of and influence which belong to riches and wealth. And aren't we rich in this truth, in this faith, man? It says power and resources arising from numbers. Power consistent in or resistant upon armies, forces, and hosts.
Yep.
And that's it for that.
Go to the Acts 1:8 definition.
God. This is the book of Acts, chapter 1. And verse 8. And ye shall receive power is the same one. Dynamis.
There's a different word for power.
Which means a force, man. So Yahushua gave his man the force, the ability to bring down the enemy through what? Through this fire, through this word.
Yeah, because our people, even people of Israel, what do they try to do? They try to, basically try to character assassinate people.
Oh yeah.
Other people. Character
demonize.
Yeah, demonize. right? That's why they become vipers, because they love their master Esau. And Esau is what? The serpent, right? He's able to what? Manipulate the minds of our people. You know, they still believe in Caesar Borgia. You know, that white image.
Well, he's already dead though.
Yeah.
Caesar Borgia was dead around early 1500s, man.
And Cesare Borgia is going to be in slavery, man.
He's coming back to slavery.
Yep.
Hey, Caesar Borgia might have been the one that what is it? Spared Yahweh's rib.
Yep.
He's probably back in the reincarnation, and his judgment is when Yahweh returns, he's gonna get put to death, man. And then get raised up again and put into slavery.
This is Matthew 5 and 13. You are the salt of the, this is Yahushua HaMashiach speaking, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savior, wherefore thou shalt be salted, and thence good for nothing, but if you cast out and be trodden under foot of men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Okay, and so we're not being hid. That's why we're out here on the highways and the byways, because that is a reasonable service to Yahweh Shemel Hashai. Even in the worldly sense, you know what I mean. You got LeBron James, the Michael Jordans of the world. That is that salt. Okay, any kind of type of creation or technology, it's usually Jake behind it, but you just don't get no credit. Okay, and so just like we're not getting a lot of
That goes back to the curses.
yeah.
You shall build a house and not dwell therein.
Yep.
You shall till the field, and not reap the fruit thereof. Roughly paraphrasing.
It's just like our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach is not getting the credit that he deserves, right, for being that begotten son. Okay, so but now it's being shown through what? Through his men. You know, they're like, oh, okay, who are these guys? Yep, they're on the four. Now they see it on YouTube, they see it everywhere, and it says that this gospel must be preached on the four corners of the earth. Okay, so it says, this is the point right here, Matthew 5 and 15. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but under a candlestick, and give it light unto that are in the house. Right, so right now this word is giving light to people that, to the hopeful elect, you know. So that's why you can't hide your candle, which is your light, which is the wisdom, under a bushel, okay?
2 Peter 1 and 19. We also have a more sure word of prophecy. I'm going to read it again. 2 Peter 1 and 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy. And what are they feeding our people in those other congregations? Doctrines of doubt, taking out scriptures, you know, saying that basically we don't understand what the MOTB is. You know, it's an embargo. It's white women. You know, it's John 3 and 16. That's not a sure word of prophecy. That's confusion, man.
And that's the same thing Esau did with the slave Bible. Okay, taking out parts to be able to fit the way they wanted. Okay, this doctrine was written a certain way for a reason.
It's meant to be taught in its totality, man.
Yep.
You know,
The correct doctrine. Okay?
2 Peter 1 and 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. And the light that's shining in the dark place is this word, man. It's shining in a place of gross darkness, man. Where this man, Esau Edom, is turning everything upside down. You know? That's why the scriptures say, woe unto him that call good evil and evil good, man. And this man has turned everything upside down to call evil good and good evil. Trying to push pedophilia and normalize it. What was it? There's a certain newspaper that made an announcement about it, saying that pedophiles are misunderstood. Pedophilia is misunderstood.
New York Times.
New York Times.
Yeah.
And then they deleted the tweet because people got in the uproar like, what the hell, nigga? But that's the nature of Esau Edom. You know? Like the elder in Birmingham has said a few times, this nigga's nothing but a violent homo, man. And a reprobate spirit. Nothing good. Yeah. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God, man. And that's the way this man lives, because he's godless. You know?
This is Second Ezra 6 and 27. For evil shall be put out. And how is evil being put out? By this word. Okay, by this word, by Yahweh Shemel Hashai giving us that word, giving us those dry bones, giving them breath and life. Okay? For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched, Okay? As for faith, it shall flourish, and corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. Okay? And we're declaring that we're trying to be part of the kingdom.
And that,
okay, that we're of those men.
and that corruption that shall be overcome is this beast system.
Yep.
The ways and philosophies and wine of Esau Edom.
Yep.
You know, death, physically, and in this death physically, as far as us not dying, and the physical counterpart of death. You know, which is Esau Edom, the so-called white man, who pushes everything that leads to death. You know, eating abominable foods. You know, homosexuality, pedophilia. Those are all lifestyles that are pushed by the so-called white man, man. You know, idolatry, Cesare Borgia, worshiping Eve. You know, those are all philosophies that are pushed and marketed to our people by Esau Edom, man. And he's able to cash in on it, and then he's able to come within his little secret meetings and say, look, y'all, look, they're going off, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, they're doing that.
They're categorizing our people, man.
The accuser, he's able to be the accuser of the brethren through that, man.
And how are they trying to do that? By saying that word black. So those say black Hebrew Israelites. When black means void of light. Okay?
If you want to be technical, they're the real black people.
Yeah, they're real.
Because black means wicked, evil, void of light. And this man is nothing pure about this man. White actually means pure, man. And there's no such thing as black or white. You know, there's 18 nations of people. And the so-called white man's biblical nationality is Edom, which means Adawam in Hebrew, which means red. That's his actual biblical nationality. And we're going to tell him to his face that he's Edom, man. We're going to tell him to his face he's the damn devil, man. That's the heritage and the legacy of the prophets, man.
Hey, can you read that precept, bro? Where it says quench, faith, try faith. Because that word quench, that's also in the book of Hebrews, the 12th chapter and the 34th verse. And these are examples of, when you go into the book of Hebrews, the 11th chapter, examples of our forefathers that overcame death through what? Through faith, man.
This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched.
And how do you quench water? With what? With fire, right? So a good example is Hebrews 11 and 32. Starting at 32. And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon and of Barak and of Samson and of Jephthah, of David also and Samuel and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouth of lions, quenched the violence of fire. With what? With the water, right? With that spiritual water, which is this truth. Escaped the edge of the sword. Who's the edge of the sword? Esau. Out of weakness were made strong, waxed valiant and fight, turned to flight the armies of the aliens. So who are the real aliens, man? That's on the left-hand side, that's Esau. These are strange children, man. That's where you get that word alien, which means a stranger. Okay, I think the legal word for alien in the Hebrew is yard, man. Okay, so Esau, he's a true pariah. Okay, the true vagabond and fugitive, man.
Because these words from that Yahawashi HaMashiach has given us are fire to this kingdom. Okay? And to bring in what? A new rulership, a transfer of dominion. Why? Because of unrighteous gain. So this is Jeremiah 5 and 14. Wherefore thus said Yahweh Hashem Rashai of armies, because you speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and his people wood, and shall devour them. Okay? So again, Yahweh Hashem Rashai is the ones that give us the words to be able to speak, to chant down this kingdom. Okay? It's not a man's going to of the Lord. Okay? So, yeah. So just like the wicked, that's Yahweh Hashem Rashai putting their wicked words in their mouth. To be able to
Jeremiah,
no, get it.
Jeremiah 51 and 20, just to back you up on that point, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And it's all starting with this word going out, man. This is that dreadful sound that's in Esau Edom's ear. That's going to tear his lies down, his kingdom down. And at the same time, build our kingdom, man. You know, which is the spiritual temple, you know. And that kingdom is being built right before your eyes, man.
And how do you build a house or a temple, right? With a good foundation, which is that cornerstone, which is Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, that people rejected.
You want to get Ecclesiastes 10 and 7? Jeremiah 51 and 21. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider.
And what color is that horse? Revelation the 6th chapter, that red horse.
Yep, and Ecclesiastes 10 and 7 backs that up. Where I've seen the scripture talk.
Hey, read that one more time, bro? For sure?
Yeah. Jeremiah 51 and 21. Yep. Jeremiah 51 and 20. I'll start with 20 and 21. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations. And this report is breaking up Esau Edom's lies, man. You know, it's starting to put doubt in the minds of the hopeful elect of Esau Edom's potion. All his lies that he's told our people, man. They're starting to destroy Latino culture, black culture, Native American culture. Those are all lies, man. Those are all not made up nationalities that this nigga made up and told you you were, man. Jeremiah 51 and 20, thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms.
Okay, I want to back you up with that. Haggai chapter 2 and verse 22.
Done.
And I will overthrow the throne of kingdoms, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them. And what are the chariots of Esau Edom? His jets, his tanks, his helicopters, his navy, his military, man. It says, Haggai 2 and 22, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride in them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, every one by the sword of his brother. That goes back to what I said in the 19th chapter. Egyptians against the Egyptians. So how about Shai is going to put the spirit on these Russians, the bears, to overcome who? The eagle, which is Esau Edom here in Babylon the Great, man.
You're going to be destroyed by your own people, man. That his sword shall return upon his own head, roughly paraphrasing. He shall fall upon his own sword. Hold that, Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. Jeremiah 51 and 21. With thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot with his rider.
And that's a spirit, because what I just read in the book of Haggai, the 2nd chapter, the title, it says what? The future destruction of Gentile powers. So we are in that future, man. We are in prophecy where the heathens are in power, like Moab, Ammon, Esau mainly, and Ishmael. But how about Shai is going to give us a spirit to overcome, okay, the enemy. Go ahead, bro.
It all starts with this word going out, man.
All right.
This word is the most powerful thing in the planet, man.
And like you say in the world, knowledge is power, man.
Yep.
So we have the true knowledge to, to defeat Esau, man.
And knowing who you are strips the power away from the enemy, man.
Yep.
You know? It takes all the power away from all the power away from Esau Edom, man. Because he can't hide in deceit and lies no more, because you know who this nigga is, man. And you know who you are. Exile, royalty in exile, man. Uncrowned kings, man.
Yeah, that can't be hid. Okay, we can't be hid, right? That's Matthew 5.
Esau Edom is being made bare.
Yeah.
You want to get Ecclesiastes 10 and 7, brother?
Yeah. I'm going to start from 5. Ecclesiastes 10 and 5. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler. Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place. And who is the rich? Okay, we are the rich. Why? Because we have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
Start with that.
But we sit in a low place.
I want to start 10 and 5 again from the top up for sure.
I got you. Ecclesiastes 10 and 5. There is evil which I have seen under the sun, as an error which proceeded from the ruler.
Yep, there's an evil which I have seen. You want to read it again?
Yeah. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun.
And that evil is Esau Edom being in power, man, because this is King Solomon talking. You know?
Yep. Sirach 10 and 7. Yeah.
10 and 5.
Yeah, I got you. There is an evil which I have seen under the sun as an error which proceeded from the ruler.
And he's talking about Esau Edom being in power, and as far as that must be an error. You know, what the heck? You know?
Yep.
Because we just put these guys in garrisons when my father was in power, man. That's what King Solomon is talking about. Ecclesiastes is the wise sayings of King Solomon. You know?
And that's also a prophecy because King Solomon, which is Yahweh Shai, he actually foresaw the Grecian Empire, man.
God.
Which that's when the evils were multiplied.
God.
Go ahead, bro.
Folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in a low place.
That folly that's set in great dignity is Esau Edom being in rulership and then doing all this folly. And then passing it in the law and legislation like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And then pushing legislation to protect the nasty people. You can't say anything about them. It's hate speech, so on and so forth. In Canada and other places like Cuba and so on and so forth, you know, pushing legal abortion, you know, all things that go against the scriptures and laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man.
Because one thing they put out, I saw Bill Gates, he put out an app called Woke, right? And what it is to complement your certain wording and far as for the LGBTQT community. Yeah, to edit your speech because then they call it woke, okay? When really they're in gross darkness.
When
Right?
the real woe is them even doing that in the first place, man.
Yep.
But that's been going on since the beginning of time. You know, men being effeminate, man, and being straight bitch made, you know, and whoring after other men, you know. But it wasn't put into massive popularity and passed off as law, you know, until Esau Edom got into rulership, starting with the Greeks. They had a practice that was called pedestry, where they would hump little boys, man. And that's where you get the root of the word pedophilia from. It goes back to the Grecians, man. The same people who are here today calling themselves so-called white people, man. Esau, Edom, Idumea, Adawam.
Sirach 10 and 7, I have
Ecclesiastes 10 and 7.
Ecclesiastes, so I keep doing that. Ecclesiastes 10 and 7, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
I'm going to read Jeremiah 51 and 21 again, just to bang the point home. Because you let a lot of precepts fly in between there. Jeremiah 51 and 21, and with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot with his rider. Want to read that again, Bubba the Show?
Yeah. Ecclesiastes 10 and 7, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
And that servant that's walking, that servant upon horses, which represent power, is Esau Edom. And Solomon's father talked about that in Psalms 37 and 35. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. And that's the time that we're living in right now, where Esau Edom is spreading his mind, his philosophy, his way of life, you know, like a green bay tree.
Here I have an example of Esau Edom.
I get it.
Esau Edom during the time of the Grecian Empire, spreading his what, bro? Was his wings like a green bay tree?
I'll just get it real quick.
This is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 9. And after the death of Alexander the Greek, right? They, right, speaking about the four generals of Alexander.
And Alexander died of syphilis because he was a boy humper.
Yep.
That's why we call him Alexander the Greek. Alexander the Greek. You know, because he died of syphilis. Because he was a homo, man. He was one of those rainbow people, man.
He got the clap.
The abominable rainbow people, man.
So back to First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 9. And after the death of Alexander, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
And that starts out with the Greek captivity. Psalm 37 and 35, I have seen the wicked in great power. And who's the wicked? Esau Edom, pursuant to Job 9 and 24, and pursuant to Malachi 1 and 3 and 4. Malachi 1, verses 3 through 4. Psalms 37 and 35, I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. And wickedness is in its perfection right now. The time of the Gentiles is just about fulfilled, man. You want to get I'll get
Psalm 37?
Second, we already got it. Okay. Second Ezra 15 and 6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. The time of the Gentiles is just about fulfilled, man. And that's why great judgments are happening. You see rocks falling upon people in Brazil.
Oh, I see that.
And that what was the name of one of those ships?
Jesus.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You know?
That's how you know Jesus ain't gonna save you, man.
That's how you know, that's not the name. You know?
You shall laugh at your calamity. That's
Yeah.
just showing that's how about Shemaiah's humor.
And who got destroyed? A pack of Edomites, for who it looks like, because that's who would most likely be out there in Asherite land, trying to be in the middle of the forest discovering shit. That's Esau Edom's nature, man. But a few jakes could have been spread out amongst them. Maybe the tour guide, so on and so forth. In those areas they call them shamans as well, right? Shamans. And a lot of those guys are witches. So most likely, if a jag did die, he was probably going into idolatry or worshiping Virgin Mary or Santa Maria or some bullshit, man.
Well, it was in Brazil, right? In Brazil, you have that big ass Caesar Borgia, on top of that big ass hill, spreading his hands like a green bay tree.
God.
Spirit.
Want to get the article? Yeah. Slack if we didn't get any of these presets, we just been rolling. Hey, Shalom, Ake, Yahweh Shemaiah Shabrakatah. I'm gonna make you a mod, GMS Australia. If I can. Yeah.
Shalom.
I just add you as a mod, brother.
I got a quick precept because the brother mentioned how, after Esau expanded his so-called business on his left side, that's actually for the sword. That's for his own destruction.
Yep.
Job 47 and 14, if his children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. So Esau's blessing, that's his destruction, man, and that's the ultimatum of Isaac, which is Yahweh Shai given to Esau, man. That's the end of Esau, his own blessing, destruction.
Yep. They mentioned that in the book that we brought out earlier, a precept up, because we brought out Isaiah 54 and 17. Isaiah 54 and 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. What instrument for his work? For his own destruction. And I have created the waster to destroy.
Yeah, and actually that's a testimony for our forefather Esdras. He saw the bone in the arrow. The bone are those shilohs, which host those nuclear weapons, man. Which is what? The arrows. Pursuant to 2nd Ezra 16, how those arrows will be shot down from the east all the way to the west, man. The nuclear holocaust.
I said I've created the waster to destroy. Now, if you were in the truth 4, 5, 6 years ago, you can actually go into the blue letter and go into Esau, and it'll say wasting away is he is one of the definitions, I believe.
That's Esau.
And now if you look it up, it'll say descendant of Ishmael, and it'll try to lead you off.
Yeah, it's going on.
But that's just Esau Edom trying to suppress this knowledge, trying to suppress this information. That's him running away.
Like a vagabond.
Like a vagabond. That's that dreadful silence in his ear.
And Yahweh Shai said in the book of I think it's Jeremiah 33, can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him? So Yahweh Shai is going to look for you even though you run, but you can't hide, right?
Yahweh Shai, his eyes are brighter, 10,000 times brighter than the sun. His eyes. That's going into the angels seeing everything, man. And Amos 9 and 8, the eyes of Adonai Yahweh Shai are upon the sinful kingdom, man. And that sinful kingdom is Babylon the Great, aka America, man. And America will be destroyed by fire. But before America gets destroyed by fire, they gotta push this. And once again, I said it before last week, I said it before the week before last. You're not gonna be able to run away from this year. So all you camps that teach the false breakdown of Revelation 13, 16 through 18, you're not going to be able to run away from this prophecy. You're going to have to explain this, man. Somebody got some explaining to do, man. Somebody going to have a whole lot of explaining to do come June. Because it's been talked about, and a lot of these, wait for this Jake to come by, please. Watch this nigga stop right here, too. Raiders fan too, they got destroyed yesterday.
Symbolism of Oakland Raiders with the one
You know, all you guys are teaching the wrong breakdown of Revelation 13, 16 through 18. You're gonna have to give some answers for this, and especially when it comes June, July, because it's been talked about in several articles that I read, and some of those videos have been taken down, that they're gonna stop pushing these mandates and these draconian policies for something new that's coming on down the horizon. And I believe through the Spirit, just me speaking as a man, that they're gonna start introducing the charagma right in front of your face, hardcore, in June and July. That's just me speaking as a man. You know, and I went into that in the video that went into the Australian lockdown. And they took that video down. They gave you a 2-week strike on Fisher 105.
That's how you know you're speaking the truth.
Yeah, they gave you a 1-week strike on this channel. That was like 2.5 months ago. You know, like almost three months ago, give or take. You know. Actually, I received a 1-week strike on this channel and a 2-week strike on Fisher 105.
Yeah, so when the brother was speaking about, their bows shall fall upon their own self, their own technology is going to fall upon their own self. So this is Psalms 37 and 11. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and they shall delight themselves in abundance of peace. And who is the meek? Meek and lowly. The ones that are out here on the highways and the byways, those that are calling on the true name, those that have the true doctrine. Matthew 13, 16. Blessed are your eyes for they see. Right? So
Sure.
Psalms 37 and 12. The wicked plot against the just and gash upon him with his teeth, and that's what they've been doing. You know what I mean? They're plotting on us as far as.
Are you in Psalm 37?
Yeah.
I believe 15 says he shall fall upon his.
That's what I'm getting to. Yeah, that is building it up. The wicked plot against the just and mash upon with his teeth, and the Lord shall laugh at them, for he seeth that day is coming.
And his teeth is his military. Yeah. You know, and the many ways he has to offer you, man. The potion, which he's pushing right now. If you aren't aware what the potion is, just take a look at TV and what they're pushing and what they're telling you to put in your body. And it talks about that potion in Revelation 18 and 23, Sirach 21 and 2, and then also Deuteronomy 32 and 31 through 33. It talks about that potion. You know?
And this is their ultimate potion that they're trying to give. Okay, this is going to be the end of all things right here. This is going to bring in the new
Well, this
kingdom.
isn't a potion. This is the implantable device.
Yeah.
This is that grain of rice.
This is that graven image to have you be a perpetual slave. They want an everlasting slave. And they want you, linked in to their technology. Okay? But as we see through our work,
the first step of getting you linked into that technology, that grid, is putting that dragon Kool-Aid in your body, man. Yeah. Because there's people who put the dragon Kool-Aid in their body, and then they walk up to a smart device, and the smart device is connected to them and is giving them their AstraZeneca or their I just said the word. Fuck it. It's giving them their AstraZeneca number, or it's giving them their what's that number? Their Pfizer ID. It pops up Pfizer ID or AstraZeneca ID 213456789 2-_Y2,
which is to show your status, that hey, you bow down to the beast, basically. You know what I mean?
Your prison number.
Yeah, your prison number. Yep.
You know, your prison number for the New World Order, man.
Basically another social security number.
Yeah.
To be an everlasting slave, right? Meanwhile, on the right hand side, we're trying to be what the what. That mark of
144,000 or the innumerable multitude to get one of those numbers, man.
Yep.
You know?
Right. So this is Psalms 37 and 13. The Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Ashai shall laugh at him, for he seeth the day is coming. The wicked have drawn out their sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy.
And the poor and needy isn't talking about somebody on the streets with a sign saying, I need help. Give me $2. I need food. I need burgers.
Turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I need tacos, so on and so forth. I need fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? I need ceviche. I need hummus. Yeah. Just talking about the Israelites, man.
Yeah. Because the poor and needy, we are poor and needy. Why? Because we don't have Yahweh Ba'Shem Ashai. Our people don't have Yahweh Ba'Shem Ashai.
And we have no way of warding off our enemies.
Yeah.
And that's why Yahweh Ba'Shem Ashai calls us as a worm, refers to us as a worm. Because we have no standing army. We don't have anybody at the UN who goes and speaks for the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. And if they are, they're an Edomite coming to speak on our behalf to further and further and further the oppression, man.
Or there were 2/3, that sold out. Okay.
And
So,
most of the rulers who are, because a lot of people talk down in the Northern Kingdom talking about, well, they have their own country, so on and so forth, and this and that. That's not true because the people who are in actual rulership are mestizos. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'll give one example.
Mexico City.
You have in Mexico, Issachar land, you have Esau and Ishmael ruling that land, and one of the Ishmaelites that rules the majority of those different businesses with Issachar, his name is Smith. His name is Slim, because that's his name, but he's an Ishmaelite.
Yeah.
He's worth over $10 billion, man. He was actually top 10 on Forbes. I think he's Forbes of the richest people in the world. Dorado. But he's the one that controls with Esau the land of Mexico, which used to be the land of Issachar, man.
And California is the land of Issachar. Texas, New Mexico, so on and so forth.
Let me finish this out. Psalms 37 and 14. The wicked has
His name is Carlos Smith, Ishmaelite.
And what I mean by mestizo is a baby of a Spaniard, of one of the conquerors that came over here. If you go into Google and type in mestizo baby, it'll pull up an image of a Israelite woman, Northern Kingdom, with the Spaniard from Spain, with the little, with the old school Spanish, armory and so on and so forth.
And those women, they're known as the Malinches.
Yeah.
Malinches are the ones that sold out, their own people to get, gain or the protection of the enemy.
And you see that to this day. I mean, literally right in front of us.
Yeah.
Eve walking around with Esau, man. It's right there in front of us.
Something about Eve,
Eve
bro,
and
that I
Esau, man.
noticed, once Eve,
The pick and roll from the garden.
and once Eve harkens to Esau, they start painting their hair, red or blonde, like the oppressor.
Yeah, like Mexico City, they have a lot of people, they all have blonde hair. It's like LA.
Yeah.
It's like LA basically. You know what I mean? Blonde hair, they're all, man on man, woman on woman, transformers,
Hey, right
fake
there,
ass,
an
fake
example,
titties.
look at Eve right there,
Yeah.
with the purple. She has a blonde hair like the enemy.
I can't get it.
That's a perfect example right
You
there,
dipped
bro.
off. I tried to get it on camera.
Yeah, trying to be
Let's finish that out.
So the wicked, Psalms 37 and 14, the wicked have drawn up their sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their
And the
sword,
upright conversation is this doctrine, and the poor and needy is the Israelites who are hearing the truth, and they're looking to eventually come after the prophets. Revelation 12 and 17. And the dragon was wroth, and went to make war against the woman, that woman being Israel, and the remnant of her seed, that's the elect. And those that keep the commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, those that keep the commandments of the believers in the report, and those that have the testimony of Yahweh Shem Mashiach, those are the prophets. And that war is being played out right in front of your face. You're witnessing that war right now in real time. It's a spiritual war.
because even in a sense, some of it is physical because they're physically taking down the video. Okay, so that just shows you.
That's spiritual.
Yeah.
But eventually it's going to get physical because they're going to come in after the prophets like a flood, and that's when the standard will be lifted.
Yeah, great.
That's when that standard will be lifted, slacked. And that standard is spiritual power. And what's going to lift the standard? The spirit. And the spirit, man, that's one thing that Esau Edom didn't want you getting, man. That's why he hid your nationality for so long. Called you black, Native American. That's why there was such thing as the slave Bible. That's why they didn't want our people reading or writing when they came over here. Because it's not a well-known fact, but our people spoke Hebrew when they came off the boats, man. And when the conquistadors, Christopher Columbus and his goons encountered the natives over here, guess what language they were speaking? They were speaking Hebrew, man. That's why they didn't want us talking, and that's why they didn't want us reading or writing. Because when we ran into each other, there were still remnants of Gad, Reuben, Issachar, Zebulun that still spoke the language, as well as remnants of slaves that still spoke the language. And that's why when Jacob went into Mexico, he wouldn't have no problems, because that's that zeal that's on Jake that knows that we're the same people. They just didn't have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we have in these last days, because knowledge has been increased with the help of the unicorn. That's how we all woke up. I didn't walk by a physical camp. I literally was tuning into YouTube, looking at conspiracy videos, then all of a sudden I seen Elder Gabar, I'll give him his due respect. Elder Gabar from the Men of Valor, the Simeonite brother. Yeah. Prophesying the kingdom. Prophesying the downfall of the so-called white men, who's the wicked.
And good brother Ash, you mentioned how knowledge shall increase, right? So I want to back up the brother in Daniel chapter 12 and start at 12 and 4. Daniel 12 and 4, but thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. And are we in the time of the end? The end of Esau's empire, his wicked empire. Many shall run to and fro, and aren't people running to and fro? You know, transportation, you know, their airplanes, boats, okay, vehicles. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Just to back you up on that. And knowledge is increasing dramatically. That's why Elder Apostle Tahar named this year the year of the amplification, turning up the spirit of Yahweh Shemel upon his man on the right side and upon the wicked on the left hand side.
Yeah. Psalms 37 and 15. The sword shall enter into their own heart.
And that's Esau Edom's destiny. His sword, his ICBM missile, is going to enter into his own heart. He's looking to make people perpetual slaves to this new world order, but this thing is going to be the slave at the end of the movie, man. This thing is going to be the one in chains, man. And that's the good news, is that your oppressor is soon to be the oppressed, man. You know?
I got a quick precept, bro, real quick to back you up. Sirach chapter 27, Slakia, and verse 27.
God.
He that worketh mischief.
Want to get 24, Brother Bashar?
God, this is Sirach 27, and you said 24?
God.
24.
I have hated many things.
I have hated many things, but nothing like him, like Esau.
God.
For the Lord will hate him.
The Lord hates this nigga, man.
Damn.
You know? Want to read that again?
God. And this backs up, what is it? Esau have I hated?
Yep. Malachi 1 and 3 and Romans 9 and 13.
God, the water, bro. Sirach 27.
That's perfect synchronization because that's talking about the hate that Yahweh Shai has for Esau Edom in the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Apocrypha.
God, that's the spirit.
Yeah, because and then people out in the world, they think that what our Lord Yahweh Shai doesn't hate.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then we just some disgruntled niggas and spiggers who just came up with doctrine to cuss out the so-called white men, man.
Yeah.
Hey, because before we came into the truth, hey, we used to love Esau, man.
Yeah.
Esau's image, his philosophies, man, his science. But now you come into the truth, and Yahweh Shai puts that
Going to the
spirit.
raves, you see the white girls and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, we was all in for Esau, man, back in the day. But now you learn this doctrine, you learn that hate is a good thing.
That's a good thing. A righteous hatred.
Now we're not going to take matters into our own hands. You know, we've seen plenty of Edomites. Are we gonna go and beat them up at the camp?
Yeah.
We've seen plenty of Moes up and down the strip. Are we gonna stone them and give them their true judgment? No, it's not the time for that yet.
And Yahweh Shai said, be at peace before your enemies, man.
Yeah.
We're paraphrasing.
We're not sovereign. You know, the standard hasn't been lifted. I can't fly. You know what I'm saying? I can't punch this guy and then he flies over to LA and shit. Man.
1 inch punch.
Yeah. But when that happens, then you know that'll be the time.
That's how you know you have power now.
Yeah.
Power. So back to Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 27 and verse 24. I have hated many things, but nothing like him.
God.
For the Lord will hate him. Whoso casteth a stone on a high, casteth it on his own head. And a deceit.
That's backing up Psalm 37 and 15. You know, his sword shall be entered into his own heart. This nigga's gonna destroy himself. All we gotta do is keep on teaching and preaching and prophesying the truth and sincerity, man. And the missiles are gonna come. Destruction's gonna come. At the same time, deliverance is gonna come to the elect, man. All we gotta do is hold on, man.
Yahweh Shai said, hold thou which thou hast.
Thou hast, and no man take thy crown. And this man is looking to take your crown. You know?
Occupy until I come.
He's looking to put the thing in the vegetables, you know? Looking to, you know, put it in the water supply. If he hasn't already done that, you know what I'm saying? There's water samples that are popping up with the thing, you know? That's why we need deliverance. That's why we need mercy at the same time. That's why you can't be over righteous, you know? And once again, you have members of that congregation who taking the thing.
Yep.
reports of some of them dying from the thing.
Well, they showed them going into a sin.
No, I'm talking about Sakari, man.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just gonna call him out, man. You know, because there was a report that certain men of the Sakari Dallas came and inquired with Elder Yashawamba, telling them that certain members of the Sakari had taken the thing, and you know it wasn't looking good for a few of them, so on and so forth, man. And once again, the reason why that's happening is because Yahweh Shem Yahshai is drawing a line in the sand right now between the clean and the unclean, those that serve him and those that don't serve him, those that serve Yahweh Shem Yahshai and those that serve their own bellies.
So back to Sirach 27 and 25, whoso casteth his stone on high, casteth it on his own head, and a deceitful stroke shall make wounds. Verse 26, whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that setteth a trap shall be taken therein. Verse 27, he that worketh mischief, it shall fall upon him, and he shall not know whence it cometh.
Yep. These guys, they're not gonna know what's gonna hit them, man. They're not gonna know, you know, until it actually is upon them, man. Until they hear that crash in that bunker, and they see men with spiritual powers glowing, arresting them and taking them out of the bunker.
It's gonna be too late, man.
You know, they're not gonna know what's gonna hit them. They're not gonna know what's hitting them until it's too late. And as well as 2/3 of our own people. They're not going to know what's up until they see certain men getting beamed up and they see the nukes in the air, then they see the sky full of chariots, man. Then they're going to know in that day that they fucked up, man. And also in that day, they're going to know that a prophet had been among them. Because, you know, we're out here. We're out here with the signs, you know, saying destruction will come to America, so on and so forth. We're out here prophesying what's going to happen to this place, and there's going to be men, women, and children who are going to be put in remembrance of men teaching this word when the destruction comes. Yahweh Shem Yahshai may put the spirit on you to remember those few faint words that you heard when you walked by camp. You may have heard only a few words in the precept. Yahweh Shem Yahshai may play it on slow repeat in your mind as the missiles are dropping, man. As you're getting destroyed with the white man. For trusting in this devil, man.
Trusting in your oppressor.
Yep.
Because we're tired of seeing, you know, on the other side of the camera, there was this grown man, you know, basically doing ballet. Okay, so we're tired of shit.
We're vexed with that bullshit.
You know what I mean?
Vexed with the conversation of the wicked, man. You want to get the articles and work from rapid speed?
Finish it off, bro.
Put it up here.
Going into how Esau oppresses the poor. Sirach 27, Sirach 27 and 28. Mockery and reproach are from the proud. And who's that proud man? Esau. But vengeance as a lion, who's that lion? Yahweh Shai, Revelation 5 and 5, shall light in wait for them. They that rejoice at the fall of the righteous, the meek, shall be taken in a snare, and anguish shall consume them before they die. Right? Nuclear destruction. Malice and wrath, even these are abominations, and the sinful man shall have them both. So destruction upon Esau, man. These days. Yeah, what? Nuclear destruction, which is his own blessing.
This is Psalms, just to finish it out, Psalms 37 and 15. The sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. Yeah, so this word is riches, right? Even though we're at a low estate, we're actually richer than you know, a lot of people. Everyone, yeah.
You have this truth. You don't have riches, man. Yep. The true riches.
Psalms 36.
How about you outside, love his number, and then go with wisdom. You know? And if you be given this wisdom, that means Yahweh Shem Yahshai is dealing with you, man. This true doctrine, this true wisdom. You know, because you have men who had the name, but they're saying that Yahweh Shai ain't immortal. They're saying that we're not supposed to worship him. Or they're saying, if you ask them what does Revelation 13 and 15, 16 through 18 mean, oh, it's an embargo. That means they don't have wisdom. Yeah. That's why Revelation 13 and 18 it says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number. That means you have to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the true doctrine to be able to break down the MOTB correctly. You know?
Psalms 37 and 17. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, uphold the righteous.
And he you have to have the testimony of Yahweh Shai, because there's men who are actually able to break down the MOTB, but they don't have the testimony of Yahweh Shai.
You have to be chosen, right? And the Lord willing, we're all those men, right? The Lord Yahweh Shemar, Psalms 37 and 18. The Lord Yahweh Shemar Shai knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. So it doesn't say 1,000 years.
1,000 years. We put a cap. We put a cap on it. We sourced out the understanding of Yahweh.
Yeah, they already know. Yeah, it says right
That's
here
what these guys
forever.
are saying.
Okay.
When the scriptures are clear cut on immortality, man. You know?
So we just get into some, some articles, some things that are going on in the world, right? It says Russia not ruling out military deployment to Cuba and Venezuela.
Is that the first one?
Yeah, I went back to Thursday or Friday.
Friday? Go back farther. Go back to.
Yeah, went back to Thursday.
We came out.
Yeah, we came out on
Friday.
Yeah, the first one was actually on Twitter.
Yeah, just read the header.
Oh, okay. It didn't have anything else.
Oh, it was a picture?
It's Twitter.
Okay, fine. Yeah, read that, bro. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it says Biden make a special appeal to social media companies and media outlets. Please deal with the misinformation and disinformation that's on our shows. It has to stop. Okay, so yeah, you got Joe.
That's that dreadful soundness in his ear.
Yeah.
And eventually that's going to lead to the famine of the word. You know? Because as pressure comes down on these social media companies, eventually that pressure is going to come down to, YouTube. It's going to come down to Facebook. It's going to come down to Instagram. And they're not going to be playing any games with anybody that's speaking out against the government, speaking out against the elections, speaking out against the medical field, the pharmacia, the juice, speaking out against the MOTB, and speaking out against the draconian measures that are going to come down the pipeline.
So this is it says Russia not ruling out military deployment to Cuba, Venezuela, Europe at greatest risk of war in 30 years. Special forces to simulate insurgents in U.S. soil.
Yeah, that word insurgent actually means rebellious, man, going against the government. Can you read that one more time, bro?
Yeah, it says Russia not ruling out military deployment to Cuba and Venezuela, Europe at greatest risk of war in 30 years. Special forces to simulate insurgents on U.S. soil. Okay?
Yeah, and that's Yahweh Shemel Shai putting the spirit on those beasts. Modern day, the bears speaking about the Russians, man.
And another thing, Venezuela, the UK took their gold. They took their gold away. Okay, and then when they tell them, they said, this is not yours. Okay, so that's Esau here right there. Okay, prepare war, the war over there in Ukraine. Okay, so that's Babylon the Great fighting with Russia over what? Ukraine. Okay?
That's going to lead to eventually World War III down the line. Next article.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. Meanwhile, I fucking Moses walking. So, yeah. So NBC News tech national jab card quietly emerged. Yeah, so they're trying to push that forward as far as everyone to be jabbed up through their digital, basically a digital license.
Yeah, they're putting everybody in the grid through the Yo Jabba Jabba, and through digital certificates, and through QR codes, and through phone apps. Yep. And the next step is eventually putting the Quran in your body.
Yep. To make you a UPC code. Okay? And it says jab cases plateau. Biden sends military in 6 states. So that's where he deployed the troops over in different places, these different hospitals. Okay?
And you know what that's going to lead to? Next article.
Yeah, Washington State legalizes flesh goo liquefaction.
Oh, we already got that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So start from.
Oh yeah, that's Thursday.
Yeah, that's Thursday, bro.
Okay, cyber attack.
Start from Friday.
Yeah, Ukraine, Russia, it just went up. That's why. Ukraine, Russia, cyber attack. So these cyber attacks are going to be what? These are so they can be able to implement the Quran, basically. Yeah. Okay. The EMP. So Biden, a compelling list, religious. Okay, yeah. So Biden compelling list religious jab objectors. So all the people that are not complying with the jab mandate,
That's
they're
code
gonna.
talk for coming against the true servants of prophecy, Yahweh Shem Shai. We're telling you not to trust this devil or his potion, man. You know? And eventually that's gonna come down to the family of the word. You know?
Yeah,
But
so,
they gotta make somebody look like the bad guy first. You know?
Yep.
Somebody has to be the elephant in the room.
Yeah, demonizing. Yep.
Next article.
So it says genetic test severe jab.
So they're implementing DNA tests with the Yo Jabba Jabba test now to basically identify a certain set of people genetically who may be carriers. Now, if you can pick up what's being put down through these articles, that article right there, it's saying that they're trying to identify a specific carrier, a specific alleged group of people by their genes, by their DNA, who are most susceptible to be carrying. That's eventually going to come down to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans.
That's what did Joe Biden say?
Being the cause, man. Being the enemy of the state. Being the blame for what's going on, man. And that's why they're doing what they're doing, man. Next article about the show. Let's run through them rapid.
Okay. Let's see. German health minister supports jab to adults.
Mandatory, yo, jabba jabba.
Yep.
So that's a thing that's coming on the horizon. A lot more states in the United States are starting to talk like that. Illinois, you know, New York State, so on and so forth. You know, in some places in California, Ohio, so on and so forth. Next article, we're going to wrap.
So British government used propaganda to fear tactics to scare public mass compliance.
Yep, and that's what they're doing. What did the Prime Minister say? Macron, he said he wants to scare the general public into submission, man. And that's eventually what they're going to do. January 20th, in certain countries, you can't access your bank branch, man. A lot of countries, I believe it's I want to give I know it's in Italy. I want to say Nigeria and some other countries. You can't access your bank branch as of January 20th. A couple days now. You know?
Yeah. So 5G towers are killing recipients. Okay. So on the 19th, January 19th.
3 days from now,
yeah, 3 days
they're
from
going to
now.
turn on the 5G. And we've been talking about this, you know, for a little while.
Because they were supposed to do it a couple weeks ago.
Wait till that 5G turns on to see the reaction of people and to see the attitudes of people change. You're going to have a lot of people not being the same, man. Because those frequencies combined with what's in your body, you know, something oxide, GO, I just say it, graphene oxide, fuck it. They take the video down, they take the video down. Graphene oxide combined with frequencies is not a good combination, man.
Yep.
You know? It's designed to have your body freak out, man.
So this is the next article. Sectarian politicians painting anti-jabs as enemies. So, you know, they already been doing that. Whatever they say, basically the unjabbed, they're actually speaking about basically the Hebrew Israelites.
You're talking about just the unjabbed is code talk for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, man.
Yep.
That's Esau Edom talking over your head if you can't receive it. That's Esau Edom prophesying on the left-hand side.
Yeah, Americans' future if globalists get their way. And what is their future? What do the globalists want?
Totalitarianism.
Yep.
A one-world government.
Yep. One
you know?
world government.
A dystopian universal credit system society like you have in China. Yep. Next one.
So it says the next one is.
And these are news headlines that we were just reading, and, you know, that have happened in the past 2 days since we held camp last time.
Yes, it's playing the anti-Semite card. Fauci hides behind Holocaust victims to deflect criticism. Okay, so and you know Fauci.
And who's Sim?
Yeah, no.
Who's Sim?
That's just a whole.
You know, it's not no person Sim in the Bible, man. You know, it's Shem. And yeah, the Edomites, they're descendants of Shem as well, but they're Hebrew Edomites. You know, they're not Israelites, man.
And Fauci, he was what? he was taking children that were in adoption places, right? And he was taking them and testing them, testing them through what their HIV.
Jake. Let's move closer and we'll only a few left, right?
Yeah. So it says climate change fanatics wipe reusable toilet paper.
I mean, that's just plain as day. Reusable toilet paper. That just shows you who's in power right now. The wicked. Esau Edom.
Utah's largest newspaper calls Unjab endure draconian lockdowns and force National Guard. So they're gonna be like a madman sparing none. They're gonna come in with their martial law because that is their gift, that is their sword, right? So this is the last one. It says Moscow deploy weapons, Ukraine guarantees. So that goes into the third woe. This is World War III. Okay, over there. That's why you gotta watch closely what's going on over there in Ukraine.
The last one.
Yes, last one.
So, anybody else got the point? Can't even hear anything. Slovakia for the noise in the background. Jake just being wicked. You guys take over the beach. But hey, Lord's will you edified by this camp session. And in closing, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Bahashim. Double honors to the head apostles of Great Millstone, who do rule well and teach well with sound doctrine. Shalom and to the elders and the elder bishops of Great Millstone as well. Peace, love, salutations, the blessings to the hope of the elect. And until the next time, Shalom, PTA, Wa Abba Kabal. Soon. Shalom.